This story is about a boy named 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫, whose mother has died recently. Now, after his mother's death, he had no place to live. In this bad situation, he only knew how his mother had taught him that if he wants to achieve something, then he will have to work hard for it. That is why 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 enjoys cleaning the house, but 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫's life changes now when his uncle takes him to his house. Here, 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 did not want to be a burden on his uncle, so he is ready to do all the household work in exchange for living in his house. So what happens to him next? To know this, we'll have to watch today's story. So, without wasting any time, let's start the video. At the beginning of the story, we see a boy named 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 who is sitting on his mother's furrow. Here the owner of his house was next to him, and he gives 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 the last letter given by his mother to read, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 reads that letter where his mother had clearly written how he would leave this world. 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 will leave her soon, but even after all this, she has faith in him that he will somehow succeed in his plan. Actually, when 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫's mother was alive, she always gave 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 her household chores so that she learns to do her work from a young age. Even 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫's mother clearly said that if she wants to achieve something, she will have to control herself. Well, after reading the letter written by his mother, 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 gets a little angry at his mother that she was telling him to take care of himself. After this, 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 goes to his school, as usual, where we see all his friends who now try to motivate 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 as much as possible. Now, after spending time in school, 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 leaves to come back home. Meanwhile, he thinks about his mother. Actually, since his mother's death, he was not shocked much, not because he did not like his mother, but because his mother used to take care of her house by working hard day and night. Here, he goes home after thinking all this. While he was walking, he met a man on the way who was trying to hide from a dog. Now, seeing the condition of that person, 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 tries to help him, and he keeps that dog with him. Meanwhile, the owner of that dog comes and she leaves from there taking her dog. Then we see that person who recognizes 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 as soon as he sees 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫's face, that he is 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫's whose mother had died some time ago. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 was surprised, and now he asks that person to tell about himself, on which that person reveals that he is 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫, who is none other than his mother's brother. Now he came here so that he could take 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 with him to his house, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲𝐫 sits with his uncle and comes towards his house where a maid named 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 welcomes both of them. Now here 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 was surprised to see that new boy. He confirms from 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 whether he has brought any other child, on which 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 was not there. He also supports them and asks them to drop him back home, but 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 assures 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 that he can recognize him as a fool, and there is no doubt that 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲's eyes match his mother's. After saying all this, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 asks that if he is his mother's brother, then why did he never come forward to help them when they needed help the most? To which 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲 tells that how his mother always wanted to work alone, and she even left forever after 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 was born. 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐲 had no choice but to help his mother in any way, but now he wants to take care of 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 after her departure, so that he can let his sister go upstairs peacefully. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 initially refuses to stay here, but 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲 knew that at present he is a child who cannot take care of himself. He cannot even go to his old house, so she lets him stay alone for some time, so that he can think about his decision. And 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 was sitting in the kitchen and crying when he saw the dirt in front of him, and he started getting upset. Actually, he likes to live in a clean place, but seeing the condition of the kitchen, he has to clean it. Just then 𝐂𝐤𝐲𝐲𝐫 comes there, and he gets quite surprised to see 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 doing all this work, but he was also happy because 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 was entertaining himself through cleaning. After some time, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 decided that if 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 enjoys cleaning, then she will let him do this work in return, for which she will take care of all his needs like his education expenses and his food and drink. After this deal, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 also agrees, after which now 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 could not feel that he is under someone's favor. Now, with this we also see that 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 has now got his own made costume to work, which 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 does not like at all, but he agrees to wear that dress because it was going to be a uniform for him. In this way, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 spends his days. He spends the whole night cleaning, where he gets tired at a point, but despite that, seeing the increasing dirt in the house, he continues cleaning it. On the other hand, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 is very upset because 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 was not able to breathe peacefully even for a moment. Here, when 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 is cleaning again, then he accidentally drops a flower pot on the floor, after which he becomes very sad, and he even feels that now there is no end to his life. Yesterday, he scolded him, but that was wrong because he was worrying about him, and after that he also advised him to rest in a corner. In the end, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 had to agree to his words, and he sleeps peacefully. Here, after regaining consciousness, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐲 saw how his uncle himself was engaged in cleaning everything. Seeing this, 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐲𝐻eart's heart was filled with joy. 𝐂𝐈𝐒's uncle takes him to a room which he himself had cleaned so that 𝐂𝐈𝐒 could stay in this room. But here 𝐂𝐈𝐒 was happy, but he is surprised when he comes to know that the cleaning here was not done properly. He asks them all to clean the place again. After cleaning the whole night, 𝐂𝐈𝐒's room is cleaned very well, and when 𝐂𝐈𝐒 was trying to sleep in that room at night, then his uncle comes there, and seeing him in front, he sends him out so that he does not break his privacy. After this, we see the uncle who is going to work after a long day of leisure. Here he goes straight to his room where he starts doing his work. On the other hand, when 𝐂𝐈𝐒 was working, his eyes go to uncle's room, and he is surprised that what is he doing by turning on the lights of his room at midnight. It is known for many things that how Madoka, after working the whole day, does fashion designing work at night. Now the next day when it is night, 𝐂𝐈𝐒 gathers courage and reaches uncle's room where he sees how Madoka was doing fashion designing work by tying her hair. Now after entering, he asks them to rest for some time and eat sex. Meanwhile, both of them sit together and start enjoying snacks, and then Madoka answers all the questions of Ro. Finally, the next day also 𝐂𝐈𝐒 starts working again. Here, after a few days, after working hard, Madoka succeeds in making a costume for 𝐂𝐈𝐒, and after some time, he calls 𝐂𝐈𝐒 and gives it to her to wear. Now the next day 𝐂𝐈𝐒 is seen wearing a costume like this. He was busy cleaning the house when a new girl enters his house. 𝐂𝐈𝐒 gets surprised to see this. The girl was calling 𝐂𝐈𝐒's uncle as brother. So 𝐂𝐈𝐒 thought that this boy might be none other than his mother's sister. But this was wrong because the girl's name was Mia, and she was not uncle's sister, but his future wife. Actually, Mayak's father had fixed his marriage with uncle in his childhood itself. But seeing Miyako here, it was clear that she did not want to have any relation with Madwa. Here we also get to know that Mayak's father had said bad things to her in anger, due to which she left her house and came to live here. When they were talking, 𝐂𝐈𝐒 comes there, and seeing him, Miyako gets very happy and hugs him. Seeing them, it was clear that she loved him, but she was hiding this thing very well. Well, here she started recognizing 𝐂𝐈𝐒 that he is none other than Moda's sister's son. Now, in the course of conversation, Miyake also comes to know that he is wearing the maid's clothes because he does not want to be a burden on his uncle. Due to this act of his uncle, the uncle assigned him the job of becoming a maid. After hearing all this, Miyake was shocked because this was the first time he had seen someone with so much responsibility. Now he also wants to make himself like 𝐂𝐈𝐒 so that he can learn as much work as possible and make his father happy. Now with this, he starts doing various works along with 𝐂𝐈𝐒. When 𝐂𝐈𝐒 trusts him and gives him work in the kitchen, but when he goes to see the condition of the kitchen later, he is quite surprised to see a lot of dirt there. That night Miyake was sitting worried, thinking that because of him she had troubled 𝐂𝐈𝐒 a lot, and she was already worried. Then 𝐂𝐈𝐒 himself comes there, and he takes Miyako away. He tries to convince Mia in his own way. Meanwhile, in the course of conversation, 𝐂𝐈𝐒 teases that here Mia likes many things instead of uncle, which was also true. On the other hand, we see Madoka calling Miyako's father and asking him to take his daughter away from here. Similarly, the next morning comes where our eyes go to Miyako and 𝐂𝐈𝐒, who are on top of Mado after having fun. Meanwhile, Miyako's father comes there, and seeing this act, he takes his daughter away from here. Along with this, he also breaks his daughter's relationship with Madoka. Now, while going home, Mia asks Moda and many other 𝐂𝐈𝐒s to stop her father, but he leaves from there without listening to them. After this, we see 𝐂𝐈𝐒, who is going towards his home after buying some things, but then his 3 friends present in the park see him leaving from there. In the end, all of them are very happy to see 𝐂𝐈𝐒, and then they all leave. They start talking about whether 𝐂𝐈𝐒's new house is right for him or not, to which 𝐂𝐈𝐒 reveals how he is very happy in his new house, and he has no problems there. He tells them about everything except the fact that he works at that place wearing a maid uniform, and after hiding this fact, he goes straight to his house, where on the way they see his friends who had followed him to his house. Here, after seeing the luxurious house, they get relieved about this. That 𝐂𝐈𝐒 must be living happily at this place, and after thinking so much, they had decided to leave from there. But then their eyes fall on 𝐂𝐈𝐒, who had now come in her maid's costume. Now seeing his truth coming out, 𝐂𝐈𝐒 brings them all inside the house, where he is successful to a great extent by telling them everything. After that, we see 𝐂𝐈𝐒's uncle, who himself comes in between them and starts listening to the conversation. Here, after everything is clear, all the friends leave from there towards their house, and then we see Miyako the next day, who had come here again, and she had also started cooking good food by following the path told by 𝐂𝐈𝐒. Along with this, Mia tells 𝐂𝐤𝐣 that how she wants to make 𝐂𝐤𝐼's favorite dish for him, but she did not know what kind of dish he likes, on which 𝐂𝐤𝐼 decides that he himself will go to his uncle and try to know about it. After this, after getting information from uncle, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 comes to know. It is about how 𝐂𝐤𝐼 likes to eat pudding, but now 𝐂𝐤𝐼 wanted to know what kind of dish his uncle likes, and to know this he prepares a lot of dishes from his side and finally presents them to him. It was a different thing that according to him, he was liking every dish which 𝐂𝐤𝐼 told him, but in the end on 𝐂𝐤𝐼's insistence he told that how he liked bunto the most, and then 𝐂𝐤𝐼 decided that next time he will try to make bunto, but this dish was completely new for him, so it was going to be a little difficult for him. After this, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 checks his dish book, where his eyes fall on a dish which his mother used to make for him. Well, here after getting control over himself, he prepares that dish perfectly and presents it to his uncle. It was a different thing that his first attempt was a little bad, but his uncle motivates him and tells him that when he was young his sister, i.e. 𝐂𝐤𝐼's mother, used to make this dish for him. In the beginning she used to make burnt food in the same way which he used to cook. Hearing this, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 understands that he has gone right after his mother. Well, after this, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 shares this dish with his friends. Now the next day we see 𝐂𝐤𝐼, who gets very surprised after waking up because his uncle was sleeping right next to him. Now this was like breaking any privacy for him, so he scolds his uncle and sends him away from there. When 𝐂𝐤𝐼 was going from his school to his home, he meets a dog on the way. Actually, that dog was a 𝐂𝐤𝐼's, and seeing him in this condition, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 could not bear it, and he secretly brings this dog home with him. He was afraid that his uncle and other people might come to know about this, so he secretly takes him to his room. Meanwhile, his eyes fall on his uncle's hand, who had picked up a cat on the way, and seeing this, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 does not like this at all, so he tells him to stay away from the cat. Now here 𝐂𝐤𝐼 is surprised to see that where his uncle was afraid of the dog, whereas he was more fond of cats. Well, here 𝐂𝐤𝐼 secretly goes to his room where he hides his dog in the room so that he can find a good owner till then. Next day after coming to school, he shares this with all his friends where all of them together start looking for an owner for the dog. When 𝐂𝐤𝐼 comes back home, he directly enters his room and starts playing with the dog. Now with time the truth about 𝐂𝐤𝐼's dog comes in front of many 𝐂𝐤𝐼's, and now they ask 𝐂𝐤𝐼 to tell everything to his uncle. After that, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 goes to his uncle with great courage and he tells him everything. In the end, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 feels that he has offended his uncle somewhere. Actually, he had brought this dog without telling him, on which he does not object, but he was surprised that 𝐂𝐤𝐼 did not think it right to tell him. Well, when 𝐂𝐤𝐼 realizes his mistake, he quickly apologizes to him for his mistake. He starts apologizing, which ends his uncle's anger. That night, when the uncle was trying to enter his room once again, this time 𝐂𝐤𝐼 had his dog in his hand. Seeing this, the uncle turns back. As long as the dog was going to stay here, 𝐂𝐤𝐼's uncle cannot think of coming to his grave. Now the next day, when 𝐂𝐤𝐼's friend comes here with his grandfather so that he can clean the garden, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 himself joins his grandfather and starts cleaning. Meanwhile, we see the grandfather who asks 𝐂𝐤𝐼 that even if he is still not able to consider this place as his home, he can still stay with him at his house, which means that he was ready to take full responsibility of him. The most surprising thing here was that the uncle himself was also present there, who was secretly listening to their conversation. Here, 𝐂𝐤𝐼, while answering his words, tells that he cannot leave this place because now he feels this place as his home, and he also has a room of his own. Now 𝐂𝐤𝐼's house is not here. Uncle feels very happy to hear this, and he is happy that somehow he made a place for himself in 𝐂𝐤𝐼's heart. Now, after some time we see that when 𝐂𝐤𝐼 reaches uncle after completing all the household work, then he comes to know that today he has to go out somewhere for work. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐼 is surprised that he had to go to work at this time, but despite this he had not made any preparations to go. After this, he quickly gets uncle ready and sends him to leave. Here uncle had left to leave, but he was more worried about 𝐂𝐤𝐼 than himself. After all, how will he take care of himself alone here? So, before leaving he gives him a phone so that he can call him in case of emergency. Now with this, he turns and leaves for his work, and then 𝐂𝐤𝐼 happily starts doing all the household chores. It was clear that he was happy to go to Maid, because now he can clean properly. After this, after cleaning for a long time, 𝐂𝐤𝐼 starts feeling bored. He had finished all the household chores, after which he goes straight to his school. Here in school, seeing the same phone, he asks his friend to teach him. When his friend checks the phone, he is surprised to see that now when 𝐂𝐤𝐼 comes to know about this, he goes back there to get his phone. Here, after coming back home, he again starts doing the remaining work, but this time he falls ill due to doing too much work. Meanwhile, he wanted to reply to Madoc's message, but he backs out of shame. Finally, It is nighttime, and after gathering a lot of courage, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 gets ready to call Moda. This time, he calls and Moda picks up his call, but suddenly 𝐂𝐤𝐿 disconnects his call. It was clear that he was very ill, but he did not want to disturb Moda by calling her. Finally, we see Maid, who is very surprised by the call and calls again, but he does not get any reply. Meanwhile, on the other hand, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 has fallen asleep. Due to his increasing illness, he sees his mother in his dreams, who always stands with him when he is ill, but at this time, he is neither his mother nor anyone else. Now, thinking about all this, he has fallen asleep when someone's hand comes on his head. Actually, it was none other than his uncle Madoc, who had left all his work and come here, and this is because his uncle worries a lot about him. Here, seeing 𝐂𝐤𝐿's condition, he starts taking care of him. After a little examination, 𝐂𝐤𝐿's health starts improving. By this time, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had understood that his uncle is very good because he had left all his work for him and had come here. It was a different matter that he had given his look to 𝐂𝐤𝐿 in his place so that he could complete his remaining work. After this, he comes the next day as well, where we see 𝐂𝐤𝐿, who is thinking about what kind of food he should cook today, but during this time, he reaches Moda's room, where he is quite surprised to see the scene. Actually, Moda's room was no less than a garbage bin, and seeing such a situation, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 gets very angry and he thinks of cleaning that room at any cost, but when Matka himself comes to know about this, then he tries to stop him as much as possible. Actually, he did not want anyone to mess with his room, but despite that, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 was not allowed to stay in the same room. After which he goes to Madek's room and starts cleaning it, but 𝐂𝐤𝐿 gets surprised when he sees some presents which were covered in paper, but inside there was nothing but air. There were many items lying in the room like this. 𝐂𝐤𝐿 picks them up carefully and throws them directly in the garbage. After some time, Madek's room was cleaned, and when he comes to Madek's room, he was surprised to see the cleanliness. Here his eyes fell on his presents, which he had spread in his room. Now those presents were missing. Seeing those presents missing, he asks 𝐂𝐤𝐿 about them, and then he comes to know how 𝐂𝐤𝐿 has thrown them considering them as garbage. Hearing this, Uncle's face becomes calm, and this is because he used to like his presents a lot, but now after losing them, he becomes very sad. It takes a lot of time for 𝐂𝐤𝐿 to understand this, but when he understands that Madek is sad about something, he directly goes to 𝐂𝐤𝐿, where he comes to know that how Madoc was fond of keeping presents since childhood, and he used to make himself happy by making as many presents as he could. In a way, all those presents were his own special gifts, and now he was very sad with their departure. When 𝐂𝐤𝐿 realizes his mistake, he quickly goes to the dustbin and starts searching for those presents. Later, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 also joins him to help him. Both of them somehow manage to find the presents, and then 𝐂𝐤𝐿 comes back to Uncle with this gift. Here, along with giving the gift, he also starts apologizing to Uncle for his mistakes, due to which his uncle becomes very happy, and then his anger also ends. Now the day also comes where 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had decided that she decides to make pudding for 𝐂𝐤𝐿, so she starts working together with 𝐂𝐤𝐿, where after a lot of hard work, she succeeds in making the pudding. After that, when Moda tries this pudding, when he does this, he was very happy because 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had made a good pudding very easily. After which 𝐂𝐤𝐿 hands over this pudding to 𝐂𝐤𝐿, after which he himself was very happy after eating the pudding. Actually, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 liked the pudding very much, and he becomes very happy after eating the pudding made by 𝐂𝐤𝐿. Well, now after all this, we are going to talk about 𝐂𝐤𝐿. We see a man who is cleaning the place by sitting in a corner when his eyes fall on a book which was not of anyone else, but of 𝐂𝐤𝐿 himself. 𝐂𝐤𝐿 picks up that book unwillingly, after which a photo falls down from that book in which a picture of a girl was made. 𝐂𝐤𝐿 is surprised to see that photo, and he quickly moves back. Then 𝐂𝐤𝐿 himself comes there and takes his book from there and goes away. Anyway, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 succeeds in hiding himself, but now he was worried about who was that girl whom he had seen in the photo. He was worried thinking about all this and whether he should share this with Mayak, but here before doing anything he goes to talk to his uncle once, where he tells him everything about this. After that, uncle, without wasting any time, asks 𝐂𝐤𝐿 that after all which girl's photo is present in that book, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐿 is surprised that how did he come to know about this photo after some time. They come to know how 𝐂𝐤𝐿 was involved in all this, and then 𝐂𝐤𝐿 also apologizes to them for his mistake. But the matter changes when 𝐂𝐤𝐿 reveals that the photo he was looking at was actually of Moda herself. When Moda was young, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had taken a photo of him and his sister so that he could use it at the right time. When he took this photo, Madoc's sister had given him the form of a girl. Well, after knowing all this, 𝐂𝐤𝐿's misunderstanding was cleared, and after this Madoc once again asks 𝐂𝐤𝐿 and 𝐂𝐤𝐿 to stand together and click their photo. In this way, he clicks a photo of a memorable moment. Along with this, we also see that Mia takes advantage of her maternal home and clicks many photos of 𝐂𝐤𝐻 as well, and after this, she keeps them with herself. Now the next day comes where 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is in his school. Here he is roaming around in his school, then his foot slips and he falls down. Due to this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 gets a very deep injury in his leg, and he is now sent to rest for a few days. Meanwhile, we see Moda, who is doing the housework in his place, but seeing Moda's hard work, he understands that he will not be able to do this work properly like this. So Moda calls Miyake for his help, who is going to work in 𝐂𝐤𝐻's place after he got injured. But here 𝐂𝐤𝐻's worry increases again when she comes to know that even both of them together cannot do any work properly. She was even worried that both of them might make her miserable by staying in the kitchen, but when he gathers some courage and reaches the kitchen, he is surprised to see how they did all the work of the kitchen and also cleaned it. After this moment, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is convinced that now they can all do their work themselves, but this thing also troubles her a bit because she was afraid that if both of them become good at everything, then what work will be left for her? Now she is thinking about this. He gets sad, then he smells something burning in the kitchen, and he reaches there quickly. He was surprised to see how they were trying to cook food in the kitchen, but they burnt the food, which means that now they were going to need 𝐂𝐤𝐻, and then seeing Miyako, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 tastes the food prepared by her, after which he praises Mayako, and tells her how she has cooked very good food this time. If she keeps working like this daily, then she can make her food even better. After hearing this, Miyako and Moda's confidence increases, and then they all enjoy eating together. In the end, slowly 𝐂𝐤𝐻's condition starts improving, and one day, when he is going straight to the park after his leg is cured, then his eyes fall on an old woman who is trying to get away from a cat after seeing it. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐻 gets a little surprised to see that old woman doing such an act, after which that woman sits in her car and leaves from here. After this, we see 𝐂𝐤𝐻 the next day who is doing his household chores, but then some of his friends come there, and they had come there so that they could watch a movie together, but the surprising thing was that all of them were going to watch a horror movie here. When all of them are watching the horror movie at night, one of his friends along with 𝐂𝐤𝐻 also gets scared to such an extent that when he watches this movie for a long time, he even excretes urine from his pants. Well, after the movie is over, all of them go to their house where at night 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is trying to sleep in his room, but then suddenly he starts hearing some sound. He gets so scared that he quickly comes to the room downstairs where he finds out that the thing which he was thinking to be something else was actually a cat which Moda 𝐂𝐤𝐻 had picked up from outside because it was lying outside. Now, after knowing this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 also asks Moda 𝐂𝐤𝐻 that why did he bring the same cat to his house, about which Moda 𝐂𝐤𝐻 tells that he had promised his mother that a day would surely come when his mother would need him the most, and that is why he used to bring her to him, because after 𝐂𝐤𝐻's mother left, there was no one to take care of him. Now after hearing all this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 understands how much Moda actually respected his sister. After this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 goes back to his room to sleep, where he sees the same dream again. Knowing this, he is surprised that this time, instead of a ghost, his mother appears in his dream, who advises him not to be afraid of all this. After this, the next day comes where we see 𝐂𝐤𝐻 and his friends who are going home from their school, then a boy is seen on the way who is looking very sad. Now 𝐂𝐤𝐻 and his friend catch him, and he tells them how he has lost his way, and even lost his purse. The surprising thing was that he was going directly from here to meet Moda's house. Now 𝐂𝐤𝐻 reveals to him that how 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is his uncle and he lives with him, after which the boy whose name is Riz agrees to go home with him. Meanwhile, all of them come to know that Riz was actually a famous band member who came here hiding his face. Well, after coming home, Riz reveals how he came here to meet Madoc because he had shortlisted him for his performance in the recent festival. He had made pants, but now he did not want to perform wearing those shorts. Actually, he had come here to get Maud's shoes repaired somehow. After this, the boy goes directly to Maud, where he clearly refuses to do this deal. Now he becomes very sad after knowing this. Actually, Maud had made a deal with his band to make this dress, so he could not change it again. He even tells Ryoha that Moda is not a good man, and he does not work for his welfare. Well, after some time, 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend asks him to pay attention to 𝐂𝐤𝐻's clothes because Moda had made the same dress for him, but 𝐂𝐤𝐻 had no problem wearing it. He does not like this thing. After which, to convince 𝐂𝐤𝐻, he even tells him that he can wear it comfortably even outside, and to show him this, he goes to the market wearing the clothes. Now after 𝐂𝐸𝐿 leaves, Ryuji feels bad that he has put him in trouble by doing this. Ryuji has given this because now everyone can make fun of him, but his thinking changes when 𝐂𝐸𝐿 comes back after shopping in the same clothes, and he was happy on the contrary because he got more discount because of that dress. Now after some time, Ryuji meets Madoc again, and this time Madoc assures him that the dress he has made for him is absolutely right for him. Actually, Ryuji's fans used to be very happy to see his legs, so he had prepared the shorts so that he could make his fans happy. Well, now after this, Ryuji understands everything, and he gets ready to wear that dress. With this, Ryuji's brother comes to the house, and he came to take him with him. Before leaving here, Ryuji promised 𝐂𝐸𝐿 that he would soon wear that dress on his performance, and he also wanted that he must watch this performance on a live show. Well, after some time when 𝐂𝐸𝐿 was doing some work with Miyake, he is surprised to know that soon Madoc's birthday was about to come, and he gets very excited with this, but the biggest problem he faces here is what gift he will give him on his birthday. When he was unable to understand anything, he comes to Miyake's house, which was quite big in appearance. Here he takes information from Miyako that what should he give Madoc on his birthday. Well, even after a lot of effort, he does not understand anything and he leaves for home. When he was leaving for home, he meets the same full-figured woman on the same full-figured woman whom he had seen some time ago. Here he sees how that woman was trying to save a dog again after seeing it. She was behaving exactly like Madoc. He goes to that woman and saves her, and then that woman thanks him for this. Well, after some time while talking, he becomes good friends with that woman, and then 𝐂𝐸𝐿 asks her that after all she has to buy a gift for a dog, but what should she buy? He is unable to understand that woman. When 𝐂𝐸𝐿 finds out that the name of the person to whom he is thinking of giving a gift is 𝐂𝐸𝐿, she suggests him that if he likes cats, then he should give him something related to this thing. This was true because 𝐂𝐸𝐿 also liked cats, but due to his allergy, he used to stay away from them. Now, 𝐂𝐸𝐿 could not gift him a cat, but on his birthday, he transforms himself and Miyako into cats so that he can make 𝐂𝐸𝐿 happy. Now the birthday day arrives. 𝐂𝐸𝐿 is very happy to see both of them in this costume. On this day, they can do whatever they want. Along with this, 𝐂𝐸𝐿 also turns on the TV where Regia, his group, was performing his singing, and here before starting the song, he thanks 𝐂𝐸𝐿 for her dress, after which he also sings a song for her birthday. In this way, today's day goes very well for 𝐂𝐸𝐿. Now the next day, we see 𝐂𝐸𝐿 who is doing his work, but then there is a song there. 𝐂𝐸𝐿 comes, and seeing him doing this kind of work all the time, he gets worried for him. He goes to 𝐂𝐸𝐿 and tells him that if 𝐂𝐸𝐿 keeps working like this every day, then he will not be able to concentrate on his studies. But on hearing this, 𝐂𝐸𝐿 is not worried at all. In fact, 𝐂𝐸𝐿 tells him that despite doing so much work, 𝐂𝐸𝐿 was doing very well in his studies, and he was even getting good marks in his exams. 𝐂𝐸𝐿 himself gets surprised to hear that this was happening. After that, when 𝐂𝐸𝐿 is in his school, his friends are surprised that how he can pass with such good marks even after working the whole day, to which 𝐂𝐸𝐿 tells that he studies during the class time itself, so that he does not need to pay much attention. After this, we also see that the teacher of the class now gives a special information to all the students. Here he told that now all the children had to write about their future in such a way. But the most surprising thing here was that they will have to read this during their open parents meeting where the parents of all the students will be present. Now, thinking about the open meeting, all of them start going to their home, and during this 𝐂𝐸𝐿 was a little worried because he had no idea that whom he will take in place of his mother in this meeting. On the other hand, now we see 𝐂𝐸𝐿 who comes to know about the open meeting through his phone, and now he gets sad with this thing that 𝐂𝐸𝐿 might take him to his school. He will not be ready at all. Actually, he was waiting for that moment when 𝐂𝐸𝐿 herself joins him to work. At night, like every time, he asks 𝐂𝐸𝐿 about his school so that he can get information about the open meeting from him, but even after every effort, he does not say anything about this meeting, which clearly shows that 𝐂𝐸𝐿 was not ready to take him to his meeting yet. But on the other hand, when 𝐂𝐸𝐿 was doing his work, he was worried about whether he should tell his uncle about this. Meanwhile, he remembers that day when for the first time he was hiding this meeting from his mother, but here his mother comes to know about this, and she gets very angry at him. She said that no matter how busy she is, she can definitely take out time for this work. Now, thinking all this, 𝐂𝐸𝐿 decides that he will tell his uncle about this meeting, and he gathers courage and goes to him and tells him about this. Seeing his expression, he immediately agrees to go with him. It was clear that he was waiting for this moment, and with this he starts waiting for the next day. Well, at night he goes to 𝐂𝐸𝐿's room, and helps him in his project, where he also makes 𝐂𝐤𝐻 realize that he should choose the field for his career in which he is interested. In the end, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 wrote that after growing up, he will do the cleaning work in a big hotel so that he can change his career. Similarly, now, the next day also comes where the parents of all the students were present. 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend used to enter a lot because his whole family had come to this meeting, after which now 𝐂𝐤𝐻 starts waiting for his uncle. When he thought that maybe he will not be able to come to this meeting, then he appears there with a grand entry. Seeing his style, all the females present there start getting attracted to him, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐻's meeting starts where every student is telling about his career, and in the end 𝐂𝐤𝐻 also tells about his dream. After that, the meeting starts. The class gets over and 𝐂𝐤𝐻 starts preparing to go home with his uncle, but then his class teacher comes there and she asks him and his uncle to talk to him alone, and this is so that she can know whether 𝐂𝐤𝐻 was happy in his new house after 𝐂𝐤𝐻's mother left or not. After hearing all this, both of them ask the teachers to help them, but he takes his luggage and leaves from there before that. After which, both of them go alone to the same teacher where he is asked about his relationship. Before he could say anything, a small argument starts between them. Now, seeing this cute banter, it becomes clear to the teacher that both of them are very happy with each other, so she agrees to let them go from here. After coming back home, we see 𝐂𝐤𝐻, who is now very serious about 𝐂𝐤𝐻's studies. So he brings a lot of books for him so that he can study as much as he can, and 𝐂𝐤𝐻 happily starts this. He also gets ready for the thing. After this, Christmas Day arrives where 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is happy with this thing. He got a vacuum cleaner as a gift on this day. He quickly goes to Uncle and thanks him, but here he refuses him by saying that it was not him but Santa's hand in it. Well, here it becomes clear to us that Uncle himself had a hand in getting this thing, but he did not want to show this in front of 𝐂𝐤𝐻, so he makes up a false story. After this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 starts cleaning the whole room with that vacuum cleaner. Meanwhile, he gets a call from his friends who were calling him to play video games with them, but here 𝐂𝐤𝐻 calls them here instead so that they can all clean together. Now, after some time, all his friends come, and their trouble increases when 𝐂𝐤𝐻 dresses them all up like him and puts them to work. Here, seeing them all together, Uncle himself also thinks of joining them, but 𝐂𝐤𝐻 sends him to his room so that he can first clean his room. Meanwhile, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 and her friends start cleaning, and we also see 𝐂𝐤𝐻 there. And she also gets along with everyone, but she was not able to do her work properly, due to which she had to face scolding from 𝐂𝐤𝐻. After this, after a lot of hard work, they are successful in doing all the work, and now everyone was tired. 𝐂𝐤𝐻 and Maid decide that they will arrange food and drink for all of them, and they do so too. After which all the children go towards their homes, and after their departure, we see Maid explains to 𝐂𝐤𝐻 that he kept working the whole holiday, so now he asks him to go on holiday with them so that he can rest a little. Here, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 agrees to this after a lot of thinking, but he decides to take his friend along with him, and the next day they reach a beach, where 𝐂𝐤𝐻 also wanted to work here, but Maid refuses him, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐻 goes to play with his friend. Here, after some time, all of them start learning skating together, where, taking advantage of the opportunity, Mia asks 𝐂𝐤𝐻 to teach her skating to get close to her. In this way, after spending a good time, all of them go to their home. They reach the room, and here 𝐂𝐤𝐻 thinks of working again, but this time Mia stops him from doing so, in whose place he was supposed to work for all of them. Seeing her going away from work, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 starts getting restless from inside, and then finally gets disappointed. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend understands this, so he tells everyone that if they want to see 𝐂𝐤𝐻 happy, then they should work according to her, because she gets happiness from this work. In this way, now 𝐂𝐤𝐻 gets full leave to work here. After which the next morning 𝐂𝐤𝐻 suddenly wakes up. He sees Maid missing and goes out to look for her, and is surprised when he comes to know that she is sitting in a corner waiting for the sunrise. Now here, he himself starts waiting for the sunrise along with Uncle, where this was the first time when both of them are successful in seeing the sunrise together. After this, we see 𝐂𝐤𝐻, who is going towards his house, but then his eyes fall on the same old woman again, and after this, he sees her again. Once again, he sees them saving a dog when the owner of the dog comes there to take his dog and leaves from there with his dog. Then 𝐂𝐤𝐻 thanks the woman because of her he was able to give a good gift to his uncle. After this, the woman becomes very happy with 𝐂𝐤𝐻 and asks him to go with her for tea. 𝐂𝐤𝐻 refuses for the time being, but he agrees to go with her after 2 days. With this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 comes straight home thinking about this tea party, where he again starts working on his work, but when he gets busy in his work, then someone knocks on his door, and there is no one else but his friend's sister, who had run away from home and come here. Actually, his friend's sister was angry with her brother because he had read her secret diary without telling her. After knowing all this, she asks him not to tell his brother about her being here, but by then it was too late because his brother was there. Here the younger sister hides from both of them and goes straight to 𝐂𝐂𝐤𝐿𝐿, where he calms her down and hides her from both of them. Seeing the child angry, 𝐂𝐂𝐤𝐿𝐿 learns everything from him, and finally, to calm his anger, he calmly talks to him and sends him to sleep. On the other hand, 𝐂𝐤𝐿's friend was sad that he had disturbed his sister by mistake. He had to face the consequences of this. Well, when he comes to know that his sister has slept here, he promises to pick her up the next day. After this, at night, 𝐂𝐤𝐿's friend's sister had still not slept, and she was still angry with her brother. Meanwhile, 𝐂𝐂𝐤𝐿 arrives there, and he calls her to him so that he can make her wear the princess dress. After this, she quickly goes to wear her dress, and later 𝐂𝐂𝐤𝐿 tells 𝐂𝐤𝐿 how he cannot see a girl sad at all. Even in childhood, when Mia used to come here running away from her father, he himself used to be sad about her. Well, after all this, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 goes to sleep in his room, but then someone knocks on his door at night, and it was none other than the same younger sister who was not able to sleep because of her brother's absence. By this moment, this younger sister realizes her mistake, and when the next day comes, she first apologizes to her brother for her mistake, where 𝐂𝐤𝐿's friend also apologizes to his sister, and with this, both of them leave for home. Now with this, the day also comes when 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had to go to the tea party with that woman, but then Riz comes there again, and he asks 𝐂𝐤𝐿 to play a game with him. But here he refuses, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐿's friend comes there, and then in place of 𝐂𝐤𝐿, his friend gets ready to play with Riz. But when 𝐂𝐤𝐿 was going from here for the tea party, both of them get a little suspicious that why is he going. So they follow him, and they are surprised. This happens when they find out that 𝐂𝐤𝐿 went to meet a woman instead of a girl. Now here we see 𝐂𝐤𝐿, who thanks the woman for inviting him here. But here the woman tells him some things about her life, like how both her son and daughter left the house, and since then she lives alone here. She also told that if she gets a chance to spend time with someone, then she would like to spend time with her grandson. She also tells how she started beating him like her grandson, and after listening to this, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 understands what a grandmother's love is. Actually, till date, he did not know who else was present in his house apart from his mother, so he likes to consider this woman as his grandmother. Well, when the tea party was over, he was thinking of leaving from there. Then he also came to know that how both his friends came here following him. With this, the woman sits in her car and leaves from there, but then we also come to know that the woman is actually none other than 𝐂𝐤𝐿's real grandmother, who used to find a chance to meet him like always until now she had kept this thing hidden from 𝐂𝐤𝐿. The next day, we see 𝐂𝐿𝐿, who is behaving a little strangely. Actually, he started petting the cat secretly. 𝐂𝐤𝐿 finds the cat in his room, which he found on the road. When 𝐂𝐤𝐿 comes to know about this, he gives information about this cat to many people and then safely takes the cat away from 𝐂𝐿𝐿. Actually, 𝐂𝐿𝐿 was allergic to cats, but he liked it so much that he could not stop himself from petting it. Now the cat is safely taken out, after which 𝐂𝐤𝐿's trouble increases when he finds out that the cat's hair was lying all over 𝐂𝐿𝐿's room. Then 𝐂𝐤𝐿 takes the responsibility of cleaning that room. Along with this, he takes 𝐂𝐿𝐿 out of the room and starts cleaning the house. After which we see 𝐂𝐿𝐿, who had also come here. She is surprised to see that since the cat was removed from 𝐂𝐿𝐿's room, he started feeling very sad. Now to make 𝐂𝐿𝐿 happy, she uses a plan where she puts a lot of stuffed cats in 𝐂𝐿𝐿's room, so that 𝐂𝐿𝐿 gets rid of those cats. Now by doing this, 𝐂𝐿𝐿 gets very happy and he happily goes to sleep in his room. After this, we also see that when 𝐂𝐤𝐿 is going towards home after taking the goods, he becomes sad thinking that he had not visited his mother's house for a long time, so now he decides to go there soon. During this, 𝐂𝐤𝐿's eyes fall on that old woman, and she was again trying to pet the cat here, but she backs off due to fear. After that, he goes to that woman and starts talking to her. In the course of talking, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 revealed that how he wants to make a special dish for someone special, but he is failing in it. Here, after hearing this, the woman advised that if he wants to make his mother happy, then he should definitely prepare his dish because it will prove to be very good for his mother. After hearing this, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 returns home where he starts preparing this dish, and till here, to complete this work, he takes the help of 𝐂𝐿𝐿 as well. After this, the next day, after the food is ready, 𝐂𝐿𝐿 and 𝐂𝐤𝐿 reach the grave of 𝐂𝐿𝐿, where after cleaning, they serve the same dish which 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had prepared with a lot of hard work. After completing the whole process, both of them start leaving from there, but then 𝐂𝐤𝐿 remembers how he had left one of his things near the same grave. After that, he goes to the same place, but he is very surprised to see the same woman there. Till this moment, 𝐂𝐤𝐿 had no idea that the woman is none other than his grandmother. but when Moda comes there, he gets very angry after seeing her in front of him and even asks 𝐂𝐤𝐻 to move away from him. Here, the grandmother now tells 𝐂𝐤𝐻 the clear truth, after which she also reveals to him that how she did not want to hide this thing, but she did not have the courage to tell the truth. After hearing all this, Moda takes 𝐂𝐤𝐻 from there, and then after coming to Moda's house, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 gets angry at him because he was the person who had revealed to his grandmother about the grave of her daughter. Meanwhile, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 was trying to sleep at night, but he was surprised that where he used to think that when he would meet his mother's relatives, he would get very angry at them, but here when he meets his grandmother, he did not get angry at all. In fact, he was very happy to meet her. After this, the next day comes where Madaka has a dream where he was very sick in childhood. It was clear that from this moment onwards, the distance between Moda and his mother started increasing. Well, with this we see 𝐂𝐤𝐻, who comes to school, but here he was not able to concentrate properly after yesterday's incident. He had become so distracted that now all his friends started worrying about him. When 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is going home with his friends, then he reveals to him that the woman whom he thought to be a stranger was his grandmother. After speaking so much, he tells him that the woman whom he thought to be a stranger was his grandmother. After that they leave for home, but then two girls come there, and they ask 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend about 𝐂𝐤𝐻 because since yesterday, he was looking sad continuously. Now 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend was thinking that what should he do then? He gets a call from Riji, and he asks him to play a game. Meanwhile, 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend takes advantage of this opportunity and sends Riji to 𝐂𝐤𝐻 so that he can convince him to play a game, but his plan fails. On the other hand, Moda was also in the same condition. He was very sad to see his mother, after which he did not want to talk to anyone. Here, 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend, seeing his plan failing, uses plan B where he calls 𝐂𝐤𝐻 for the spring break party through Miyako. During the conversation, Miyako tells how 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friends have executed this plan after seeing the happiness in 𝐂𝐤𝐻. Now seeing the concern of his friends, he agrees to join this plan, but during this time Moda was also sad, so 𝐂𝐤𝐻 talks to him alone and gets his consent to start this party. In this way, the day of the spring break party comes where all of them bring some dishes from their respective homes, after which the party starts. Meanwhile, a big spring tree is also brought there, which doubles the fun of their party. Everything was going well, but then 𝐂𝐤𝐻 sees that Moda is not present in that party, so he quickly goes to him and tells him how he is going to celebrate the spring break. He also tries to convince him to come to the party. Now he also joins the party, and everyone starts enjoying. Meanwhile, Moda comes and drinks a lot, after which he sleeps on his bed. Here we come to know that Moda was sad because 𝐂𝐤𝐻 suddenly came to know about his grandmother, due to which he becomes a little sad in his eyes. Well, here 𝐂𝐤𝐻 explains the whole story to him, and says that ever since he has met his grandmother, he has found peace instead of anger. That is, he has not felt bad about anything. After knowing this, Moda also becomes happy, and with this the party ends. Here, after some time, Maid was trying to sleep in his room when he again gets the same dream where he was ill in childhood, but this time his mother was sitting next to him who was taking care of him. It was clear from this that his mother was not as bad as he thought her to be. After this, the next day comes where 𝐂𝐤𝐻's school opens, and this time we see the younger sister of 𝐂𝐤𝐻's friend, who starts going to school from that time. After some time, when 𝐂𝐤𝐻 is at his home, he comes to know that how Moda was very busy for the next few days because it was the wedding season these days. Due to the wedding, he had to prepare many wedding dresses. Meanwhile, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 asks him to choose the colors of the dresses so that he can work on them. Here, while Moda was busy in his work, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 decided to give him food on time. Similarly, we see 𝐂𝐤𝐻 at night who goes to Maid's room where he was preparing the wedding dress. He leaves from there without disturbing him. After that, we see Maid who comes to 𝐂𝐤𝐻 and gives him his lunch, but in the meantime, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 notices how his health is getting worse. Now he starts worrying about Moda, so he goes to the store and buys medicine for her, and he starts coming towards home with her, but then he meets her again. He gets into a relationship with the same woman, and here, contrary to expectations, he talks to his grandmother nicely, after which he comes back to his house where he sits with Maid and starts looking at her photo which was given to him by his client when she wore the same dress in her wedding. After seeing the photo, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 gives him bandages and medicine so that he can take care of himself. After this, 𝐂𝐤𝐻 comes to his room where he gets a strange dream where he was talking to a girl and he suddenly falls down. and then his dream breaks. After that, after regaining consciousness, he goes to Maid, who himself had also woken up after seeing a dream. It was clear by looking at Moda that he has a lot of work and he was going to spend a lot of time in doing them. Here, 𝐂𝐤𝐠 starts helping him as much as he can so that he can complete his work as soon as possible. After working continuously for a few days, the day also comes when Moda's work is completed and he finally becomes very ill. At night, when 𝐂𝐤𝐠 goes to see Moda, he is surprised to see that he was sitting in front of a dress and working. When 𝐂𝐤𝐠 goes to him, Moda reveals to him that how he was making this dress for his sister, but he never got this chance till date, and he is sad about this. After this, when it is nighttime, 𝐂𝐤𝐠 goes to his room to sleep. Then he starts hearing the voice of a girl. He gets scared that the voice might be of a ghost, so he quickly goes to Moda's room. Here, when Moda allows him to come to her room, he also sleeps there because his health had become very bad. He is surprised when the ghost of that girl again appears in front of 𝐂𝐤𝐠, and here 𝐂𝐤𝐠 reveals that she has not come here to trouble him, rather she asks him about his life. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐠 also calms down and starts telling him about his life. Ever since he came to live with Kay, he has started feeling much better. After knowing the whole thing, the girl feels very good, and then a bright light from the window asks her to go back, after which the girl puts her hand on Moda's hair and says bye to 𝐂𝐤𝐠 and goes from there. Now 𝐂𝐤𝐠 is shocked when he comes to know that the girl is none other than his mother, who is in her childhood form, and here she meets 𝐂𝐤𝐠's father. Our leaves from here, and then 𝐂𝐤𝐠 gets very emotional after seeing her, but here 𝐂𝐤𝐠 was also happy that his mother is now very happy for him, and then we see Moda Kay, whose health had become completely fine now. Here 𝐂𝐤𝐠 knew that his mother's hand was behind his recovery, and he was very happy thinking this. After that, the next day comes where Moda Kay and 𝐂𝐤𝐠 start living happily together. Then we see the younger sister of 𝐂𝐤𝐠's friend, who is now at their house, and she was very happy, playing with Moda Kay. So friends, this series ends with this.